I could stand up here and tell you everything that I know about clouds, but that would be boring. So I think you should teach me something. What do you know about clouds?
Clouds bring rain.
Well, what is it about clouds that makes you say they bring rain?
I was outside and there was dark clouds in the sky and it started raining.
Clouds can move in the sky.
Well, how do you know that clouds can move in the sky?
I watched a cloud move in front of the sun.
Teachers, pause here and keep the questions going. Let your students teach you about clouds. Use questioning techniques to build a vocabulary list and create a universal understanding of what clouds are. Let's see a video. So we've been talking about clouds in general. Now tell me what you know about cloud formation. What do you know about how clouds form?
The water on the ground evaporates and rises.
Well, what do you mean by evaporates?
That's when the water gets hot and changes into a gas.
Yeah, and after that, the water condenses in the sky.
Condenses? What do you mean by condenses?
It's when it changes back to water.
Teachers, pause here and keep letting the students teach you about how clouds form. Be sure to make vocabulary lists of terms. Take a minute to represent clouds in your notebooks. You can draw clouds or the water cycle. You can cut out pictures or write a story about clouds. So we saw how nature makes a cloud. Why don't we try and make some clouds in the room? This is Jessica, my friend who works with me at Kidsenses. She's going to be helping us out today. Each group will need the following items: a large jar, a bag of ice, warm or hot water, a match, which the teacher is going to bring to you, a flashlight, a piece of black construction paper, and finally some tape.
Matches can be dangerous, so the teacher will be the one to handle them. Also, be very careful with the hot water.
Science is a lot of fun, but if we don't follow the rules, accidents can happen. That's why we need to make sure we have a teacher and also our protective goggles. So one person is in charge of the jar, and they should hold it while another person takes the tape and black construction paper and secures it to one side of the jar. Right. Another person should be in charge of the flashlight. Please check now to make sure that it is in working order. Another person should be in charge of the ice bag. Please check now to make sure that there are no leaks in it. The person who's in charge of the jar should allow the teacher to add hot water. Be sure that no students are touching the jar in case of splashes.
The water represents the water on the earth that is being heated by the sun.
The teacher will then bring a match to each jar. He or she should light it, let it burn for about 2 seconds, blow it out, let it smoke for about 3 seconds, and drop it into the jar.
The smoke from the match represents the particulates or dust in the air. Water vapor needs to attach to these as it rises. Be sure to note that the heat of the match is not important to the activity. The creating of the particulates is.
Once the match is in the jar, the person in charge of the ice bag should quickly and carefully place the bag over the top of the jar, completely covering the opening.
The ice represents the cold air in the higher levels of the atmosphere.
The person with the flashlight should now shine the light into the jar from the opposite side of the black paper. So what do you notice about the light? Why do you think it's difficult to see? Well, what do you notice about the jar? After about 2 minutes, do a countdown and have the students remove the ice bags from the jars and watch what happens.
3, 2, 1. Ask the students what each item represents and try to tie things that they observe in real-life experiences. Things like clouds, fog, headlights, and steam should be discussed.
Now that we've finished our activity, what do you know about clouds?
Clouds bring rain.
The air way up in the sky is much colder.
Clouds are usually white, but they can be gray or black.
Teachers, add any terms to the vocabulary list that were overlooked. Let's look at that video one more time. Now, what do you know about how clouds form?
Water on the ground gets hot and evaporates.
Then it goes into the sky and cools down.
Water vapor condenses and turns into a cloud.
Let's take a minute to copy all of these terms into our notebooks.